Here's a quick how-to video if you're thinking about putting some Elke Shocks on a Generation 1 Can-Am Outlander. It's not really a how-to video, but it's more just to show you how simple it is. Of course, you start by cranking up the machine, taking off the wheels, using my Makita impact wrench. Love that thing. That's my favorite part, unwrapping. It's like Christmas. Oh yeah, and they give you these little tags, so each shock is identified that it's been set up according to your measurements that you provided when you ordered them. You put the front ones on the front and the back ones on the back, so there's no mistakes. So you take off the upper nut and bolt, and I realized that little electric wasn't going to do it. Decided to use the impact. I realized there's no room for that. And I went to the good old-fashioned torque ratchet that my best friend and brother from another mother got me. Thanks, Billy. And once you untorque them, you just use your electric ratchet and pop those bad boys out. If you don't have a Milwaukee electric ratchet, by the way, get one. Freaking thing is the bomb. Anyway, pull the old one out. Pretty easy, and then just like that, the new one just sits right in there. They are an exact fit, so there's no messing around with anything. You take the old bolts out, clean them off, put a nice fresh coating of heavy-duty red grease, the tacky grease. Love that stuff. And you just torque them up there, and I don't know what the specifications are. I really don't care. I just sort of go by feel. I mean, they haven't fallen off yet. I've had those frickin' shocks off and on so many times over the years. I switch over to the other side, do the same thing, pop the old one out, put the new one in, lube up the bolt, stick her in. This is where it'd be nice if you had a second set of hands, but I mean, it's really not hard at all. It's not heavy. You just got to line up the holes. And if the bolt does not want to go through, don't force it. Just let it catch a little bit and use an electric ratchet or a regular ratchet and just sort of coax it through a little bit. You don't want to screw up the threads because you'll be kicking yourself. And then you give it a good torque. Again, just by feel. I'm sure if you look it up, there's probably specifications somewhere, but for God's sakes, I think after all these years, I pretty much got a good feel for that stuff. I'm sure you will as well if you're watching this. Anyway, she's good to go. Give her a quick double check with the impact. And then the wheels go back on. It's just that simple. All in all, it took me about 45 minutes to do all four. Of course, I cut it down to a short video. Who wants to watch this big fat old guy sit there and work on his machine and grunt and curse and occasionally pinch his fingers, etc., etc. All right, then you crank her down, and that's it. The front is done. Onto the back, crank her up, take off the lug nuts, take off the wheels. God, I love having that ATV lift. I've worked on my motorcycles, my quad. I love having that. All right, use the old torque ratchet to get that first crack. When she's loose, go back in there with the electric ratchet. And just because I'm too lazy to sit there with the regular ratchet going, like, God, that's what the electric ratchet is for. I love that Milwaukee thing. I think it's my favorite tool in the whole garage. The second favorite would be the Daytona car jack from Harbor Freight. That thing is amazing as well. I have a couple of favorite tools. Those two come to mind. Anyway, same thing. Just take off the nut and bolts. Pull the old shocks out. They might need a little bit of coaxing because they're tight in there. Now, here's the thing. When I went to put on the Elke Shocks, I noticed that the lower portion, the spacer, the part that the bolt goes through, is a little wider, not by much, than the stock ones. So the little mounts or the little seat on the trailing arms, they just got to be widened a little bit. Just put a wrench or a screwdriver or something in there. Just widen them out a little bit. I remember seeing this video a while back of some guy who had the same problem, but he decided to take a grinder to his brand new $2,000 Elke Shocks and grind them down so they'd fit. I'm like, oh my frickin' God, what a shame that was. Anyway, so just spread them apart, and then once you put it back in the seat, squish them back together because the holes will become offset. They won't line up again. and you squish it back together, and same thing, put the bolt in. The thread will just catch the end, and then just use your electric ratchet or the regular ratchet just to coax it through a little bit. Don't hammer it, you'll screw up the threads. I don't know how many times I could warn you about that, 'cause I see a lot of people do that. Tighten her up, and off you go. On to the other side. Same thing. Snap that initial, get that initial torque to get the tension off. Use the electric, out she comes. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And will this one fit? And no. So same thing, you just got to widen the seat a little bit. It's only like a 1/4 inch, and you just do that, and yeah, and the Elke Shock just seats right in. Once you've sit it back in again, pinch those pinch the seat, the left and right side, so that the holes can line up a little bit better. And yeah, see, I pinched. Get the bolt through, and once again, if it doesn't line up perfectly, don't worry about it. Just use your finger, get it caught a little bit, and then use your ratchet to screw it through and coax it a little bit. And give it a good torque. There you go. That torque wrench is awesome. And same thing on the bottom. Just give it a good torque. Why am I making the noises? That's funny. Anyway, wipe off the grease and your sticky fingerprints, because they're just too damn pretty to be dirty. They'll be dirty soon enough. And put the lug nuts back on. Always finger tight the lug nuts first. God, don't ever use the impact right away, because if they're off a little bit, you are cross-threading your studs, and that's it. You're screwed. Anyway, crank her down. That's all. She's done. Like I said, under an hour. All 4 were done. And there they are. It's a bloody thing of beauty they are, I tell you. Yeah, really good stuff. The ride between stock shocks and these Elke Shocks is night and day. I can't stress it enough. It's money well spent. I know they're a little pricey, but it's worth every penny. And yeah, when you order them, they ask you how much you weigh, how much your machine weighs, what kind of machine is it, what kind of riding you do. They set everything up for you so that there's nothing to do when you get them other than to bolt them on. It's just that simple. And tabarnak, they're made in Canada. See. And that's it. If the video helped you out a little bit, great. It was just really to show you how easy it is, and I would encourage you to make the upgrade. Have a good time out there. Stay safe. Bye-bye.